Before we get off this stuff, back to your baseball field and all that, where you at on your gravel parking lots and stuff like that?
I am waiting to see exactly where we are on the concession stand so I know what
Money.
to put out. I'm watching the money right now. I haven't done anything with the gravel. I've priced it, but I haven't gotten into it. I priced road base. I'm gonna also price some slag, the gray gravel, because it doesn't blow up as much dust and everything on the playground. I'm probably gonna look at it more than I am the white dust. But I haven't gotten a price on that, but I did get the road base just locally, just to make a phone call. Tell them how much I needed, and they told me how much the cost was going to be. It's not cheap, but.
Do you anticipate being able to use that ball field here in another month or two?
No, that ball field won't be ready until next year because we don't have grass on it. We'll be able to use the concession and the restrooms this year.
Okay.
Hopefully within the next 2 weeks, before the end of the month, we'll have it up and running. And then, but the ball field, we still have to get turf on it, build the pitcher's mound, do all that kind of stuff. Oh, I know, but they knew it. I mean, I haven't hid that from the whole time. We didn't have time to get grass on it. I know we've got ryegrass out there, but it's not thick enough to play on or to give us a turf that we need to get. So, and I want to build it right. I don't want to rush it and not have it done right when it comes time to play.
How much does grass cost to put in there?
We did it about 10 years ago at Cumbie. They came in and they put down grass on the infield and two layers deep into the outfield. It was over $10,000. Sodding it in. That's pretty expensive. And that's not even doing the outfield. That's just doing 2 rows into the outfield and then just sodding the infield.
Looks like as much time as we've got. If
Yeah.
we would buy about $200 worth of remove grass seed and do that pretty quick.
Well, we're gonna lime it, and we'll get the lime down because you mentioned it'd be good for that. And then we're also going to make sure we get the right Bermuda grass for what we want to put on the field. And we're not going to just do that. What we're going to do is we're going to hit that Bermuda, and at the same time we're going to hit the softball field with Bermuda too to get it growing a little bit better and try and make a better cover on the outfield out there. So,
but the time is approaching real quick.
So that would be good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, could it be used then if the grass comes up then?
No, it won't come up until next year. You won't see it until growing season next year.
No, you'll see it here in about April and May. But my point is,
it won't be strong enough.
if you're going to seed it, you need to get it out early enough that you've got some spring rains and stuff to maintain it and get it up and going until. So it's up and going when the hot summertime gets.
We're also looking at the cost of maybe putting some sort of irrigation out there where we can keep it on the field and maintain it. So that may be an added cost that we didn't have figured in, but I'll have to come to y'all once I figure out what that's going to be. Otherwise, we pull hoses and set up sprinklers, so, which we've done for a long time. So. Or set spigots out on if you know set them up. Junior high. Any other questions? Our junior high UIL had a slight lead going into the 1-act play contest, but the 1-act play didn't keep us in the lead, so we ended up in 3rd place. Girls basketball season's over with. Our junior high girls got 3rd in the consolation in the district tournament. They did a very good job this year. Varsity girls ended the season with a loss. I felt like we did get better each time. And baseball and softball are up and running now. Softball scrimmage Cayuga Saturday. Scrimmage Cayuga Saturday, and came, I think it's like 15-6, 15-7, somewhere around in that area, which they did pretty well. A lot of young kids, so they're still learning some different things.
How many kids you got on that team?
There's 20 girls.
20 girls on the softball.
That's compared to about half that many last year.
No, they had a lot of girls last year.
They had 12 to 14 last year.
Why were we so short last year?
2 years ago.
Because you have some girls from moved up to freshmen this year that increased the team.
Yeah, you got a big freshman class this point.
So we don't have a JV team this year?
You got to have 18 to have a JV team. It'd be real difficult to do that. So right now we're trying to see what's going to happen with the ones we've got. We do have a junior high team. She's already scheduled some games and got some different, like a tournament type games and stuff like that. They're going to be playing some junior high games right before the varsity games.
Don't we
So
have
there's a schedule
tournament?
in your there'll be a schedule. There's a
weekend
schedule.
too.
in
Tuesday
it.
game tomorrow night, no, Alaska.
Yeah, they go to on Alaska. No, actually, that's been
They
moved to
come
here.
here.
On Alaska's coming here because their field's too wet.
Wow.
Ours dries off a lot faster than theirs does, because they're down in the hole. They're playing at 4 o'clock,
Wow, okay.
so they'll be playing here tomorrow night. Baseball has a game for Friday, if our coach is not so sick he can't go, because the coach was out today, and he's got to make sure he's back in time to be able to play baseball, so he's working on that. Tennis schedules, baseball and softball schedules are all in your packet tonight. Legislation, looking at the legislation, there is quite a bit of stuff in your packet that talks about different legislation. If you want to look at all that, the Appropriations Committee discusses the state budget. That's talking about how the fact that some of them want to put some money back into education, some of them don't want to do it. Some of them want to start working on it now. There's also been a bill about coursework assessment and accountability bill by Representative Jimmy Don Aycock. This one actually reduces the 4x4, pushes more toward career and technology and careers. There's a lot of bills about education out there right now that are really going to change the landscape and really make the high school principal have to hop to figure out what the new course requirements are and all that kind of stuff, because there's a bunch of new stuff out there. The pushback that the legislature has felt from parents and school personnel has made them realize that all of the testing, all of that high-stakes testing is gone overboard, and they're starting to push back. A lot of these bills are cutting the number of end-of-course exams from 15 down to 5. So they're reducing even the number of end-of-course exams in a lot of these bills. Now, whether all of these, which ones will pass, which ones won't, what they'll end up with at the end, we're not sure, but these are some of the things that are going through. We were a member of the Texas Taxpayers and Texas Taxpayers and Student Fairness Coalition. Our group did win. The group, Judge Dietz ruled the school finance unconstitutional, both on equity and adequacy. In other words, they weren't keeping it the same across the board, and it wasn't adequate enough. And he ruled that it wasn't adequate enough even for the rich school districts that were getting $2,000 and $3,000, sometimes $4,000 more per kid than we are. And he said there's not enough money even for them. So that's a significant point. Now, I still got to go to the Supreme Court before any kind of thing is final, and they'll bring that up. His statement was somewhere around $2,000 a kid needs to be increased. The average needs to be about $2,000 a kid more than what it is now. We're just below the average.
And it will
So
be
that would
next
be
year
huge.
before we receive anything.
It will be, well, they'll be working on it in a special session. It'll be the next legislative session before anything major changes, I assume. I think we may get some of the funding back that we lost simply because the rainy day fund has some in there, and they've had a surplus in the budget more than what they thought they were going to have. But it's not going to be everything that we've lost over the last 2 years. We may get a little bit of it back, or targeted assistance back in our, maybe in some of our instructional materials allotments and some things like that. But right now, they're not looking to change that a lot. Yes?
The legislature won't take that up until it's passed the Supreme Court, correct?
Most likely they won't. They could, and there's some of them calling for get your hands on it and let's get it done, not to have the Supreme Court telling us what we have to do. But for most of them, we're going to say, hey, wait a minute, I want the Supreme Court to tell me I have to do something so that when I take money away from my school district that I'm representing, I can say the judge made us do it. So they get some political cover. So I don't see anything major happening until then, except that I really believe we'll probably get a little bit of funding back this time simply because of the surplus.
When would that hit our checking account?
They're already talking about making sure that we get our funding in August. Our August check that was going to be deferred until the next school year. They're already talking about putting enough money back in to cover that. And then they're also talking about putting another $1 billion or something back in there to help alleviate some of the cuts that they did. They cut $5.4 billion out. They're talking about a 1.5 or 1 billion of that or somewhere around in there, putting it back in, and what that is simply giving you your check in August instead of in September. And then also trying to put a little bit back in targeted assistance situations. So we'll see how that shakes out. I kind of see that's going to happen. What I do see is that we're probably not going to see a reduction. We'll probably stay pretty steady on where we are right now. If we get some, it'll be a little bit here and a little bit there.